Hi guys, this video is suggested by Quantum Crab, who was asking if I could do a tether, and the tether's between two objects. So you imagine like kind of games like Duck Hunt or that kind of thing, where you have more than two players, like couch multiplayer, and you want to keep the players inside the camera. So I created a couple of scripts for that. One to tether the players and the other one to move the camera out depending where the players are on the screen. And so that's what this video is about. If you want to pick up the starter code for this video, the starter project for this, the link is in the show notes below. So if you just click down the show notes below there, as always, the repository information is down there. What else do you need to do? Yeah, if you liked the video, thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, thumbs down, and all that kind of good stuff. And you can do that later on after the video, after you watch the video. I'm not feeling particularly 100% today, so I'm a little bit groggy, and there's some bits that I've cut out. There's a full-length version of this video as well, which is the link up there and the little information icon. So if you want to see the full video, the uncut version, then feel free to do that. But yeah, as always, let's get started after the fade. So now that we have our two objects in game, we want to be able to tether these objects. And I think maybe we should go back to the list and see what we need to do here. Okay, so in the last video, we did all of this part here. So that was this is our last video. So our current video is going to be this section here. So we want to be able to link the two players together with an elastic band. I looked at Spring. I'm not entirely sure that's what we want to do. So I think what we want to do is we just want to have just a simple distance calculation. And if it goes beyond that distance, then we want to constrain it. We want to stop the player from moving. I think that's probably the easiest way. So if I go back to, no, here we are. If I go to here and I want the script on both players. That's a good question. So the issue is I want the player to be able to move back to the other player. Okay, I think we do want it in both players. I think we want it in both players. I'll tell you why, because we want to be able to, if we have this player here and they head in that direction, so they follow the arrow that way, then they're moving further and further away from the player. So the further and further away they move, the more likely they're going to have to be tethered back to the first player. If they're moving towards this player, so they start off here and they move towards this player, we should let them. And it's only when they get beyond the maximum amount that it causes issues. So we have a sort of test to make sure the direction is there. So if they're moving away from this player, how are we going to know that? We'll figure that out. Okay, so so I'll get rid of all of these first of all, and I'm going to say public name object. Actually, just do transform other. So we'll call that other. And then the distance, what's the maximum distance? So right now this is at, I think player one is at -3. So if we have a grid here, so that's -3. Sorry, that's 0. So if we say, what is that going to be? 20? I think 20 is good. So it's going to be 0 minus 3. Okay, so 20. Public float max distance equals 20. So we'll default it to 20. And then we will expose a public method, public bool movement, or see, we don't know. Let's see what we can calculate. So the distance is going to be vector, so it's going to be vector distance equals other dot position minus transform dot position divided by 2. So that gives us our no, it doesn't. No, dear. Divided by gives us the magnitude, so that's going to be the distance between those 2 points. Then we're going to say so if we have the other position and the other position is ahead of us, then maybe we need to know whether they're left or right of us and therefore can move. But if they're the right, maybe it doesn't matter. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Maybe I'm overthinking this. Okay. I think I am overthinking this. Okay, right, let's do public bool at max. So at max is going to be equals distance greater than or equal to max distance. So if the distance between the other object and your object is at the maximum distance, then you want to it's in my head, but I'm trying to put it into words here, sorry. So if we're at the maximum distance, we're going to set at max there. In the other script, we're going to test if this is at maximum, and then what we need to do is we need to check to see if the new movement in theory would bring you closer. Okay, so I'm going to say public bool is closer. Vector 3 position, and we'll do the same thing here, but this is going to be position. Sorry, that would be other position minus position. Return at max equals distance max distance. That would be less than maximum distance. That wouldn't be that, it would be that. So this is going to check to see if this position is closer. So in our locomotion script, we're going to check that. So we're going to do tether. And we're going to do tether, and then we're going to do tether equals get component tether. And that's going to grab our value there. And then we're going to check to see and movement allowed. So we don't know what movement is allowed is going to be yet, but we're going to make sure that the speed is not 0 and the movement is allowed, and if that's the case, we're going to add force to it. So private pool movement allowed, and we're going to say if tether dot at max. Oh, we need to know what the distance is, don't we? So that's going to be temp speed. So if the movement is vector 3 speed, if the tether's at max and tether dot is closer, so it's not actually maybe we don't need it at max, maybe we just need to check to see if it's closer. Yeah, maybe we just want to check and see if it's closer. Speed plus transform dot position. So speed's negative or whatever, it's going to return that to be true. So we can just do return true that. So if the tether is closer, if it's closer, then you can add the speed. Okay, let me just, sorry. So our movement allowed is just going to call our tether is closer. Our tether is closer takes in the current position plus the speed. So if we are traveling positively on X, it's going to add a value onto to there, and that's going to hopefully mean that when you but I want to be able to go back there. Actually, I want to say if that return true, otherwise I want to set dot velocity equals vector 3.0. Actually, it's going to be vector 2.0, isn't it? And return false, because I don't want the ball to move further, so I want to stop it dead. So now if I select these two items here and I click on that, add tether, and you see that it asks me for the other one. So for player 1 I'm going to drag in player 2, and then for player 2 I'm going to drag in player 1 like so. And now I'm going to roll off, and the camera's going to follow me until it gets to a certain point, and then it's just going to stop. So right now I can't move any further, but if I roll back, it allows me to roll back. And again, if I go back out here, you can see that it stops me after a certain amount of time. So that is the tether part of the equation. What we also need to do though is we also need to be able to zoom out to that point. So right now our main camera, why is it not showing that? Our main camera, which is not showing 2D. Oh, that shows the viewport, and of course it's not showing the viewport because for what? So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 18. So that's 18. So to get 20, we probably have to move the camera. There you go. So right now the camera size is 5. So we want to go to 10 maybe. So let's zoom the camera based upon that. Let's go into the camera follow this time. Okay, so we want to have public float max size equals 5, public float, sorry, min size equals 5, max size is 20. Public float max distance equals 20 as well. Okay, I'm going to do public tether. I'm just going to cheat here. So I'm going to tether, and then I'm going to say public float distance. And that is going to be distance is going to be that return distance divided by max distance. Other position minus transform.position. So all I'm going to do is that I'm just doing a rough calculation to get the current distance between the player and the midpoint, or at least the other players, divided by the max distance. So it's either going to be 0 to whatever the maximum is. And then I'm going to say inside the update, I don't need max distance there, but I do need these min distance and max size. So I'm going to say cam dot size, orthographic size equals mathf lerp, and then it's going to be whatever the current orthographic size is, and actually it's going to be no, it's not, is it? It's going to be min size, max size, and then tether dot distance. So the distance is going to be a value between 0 and 1, and that's going to give us our orthographic size there. And I think that's okay. And then what we can do now is we can drag. Pardon me, our camera 1 needs a tether now. So right now it's got player 1 there, so might as well just use player 1 as the tether. It doesn't really matter because there's only 2 players in here just now. So now our camera is set to be at that point. So if we move this player off to the right, you can see that the camera moves out, and when he goes back in, the camera moves back in again. So you've got that kind of like duck hunt type camera. It's a little bit far out, but yeah, see, that's what I kind of thought, is that you end up with this stalemate. So what I want to do is inside locomotion, instead of speed plus that, I'm going to say speed times 2. So I just want to make it so that it's like a certain fudge factor. Never good putting fudge factors in code, especially magic numbers. But it's just that in case they get stuck. So there we go. We've got that going there, and then we can move these 2 balls here, and you can see that they kind of roll in and out of each other, and you can see that they stop as well. Yeah, I think that's kind of. Oh, see, the camera doesn't quite catch up with them. Whoa. Yeah, the camera doesn't quite catch up with them. Oh, player 1's dead, and player 2's dead. So yeah, there's still a couple of bugs to iron out here, because now they're way ahead of each other, and they're not quite working the way that they should do. So maybe what we need to do is RB actually be transform dot position dot no, I'm down there. No, that doesn't make any sense. I think it's when you're when that's not the case, the player's going over a maximum speed. So what I can do is like let's do float max speed equals 10 just now. See if that works. And then we'll say if rb.velocity.x is greater than maximum speed, our temp equals rb.velocity, temp.x equals max speed, rb.velocity equals temp. So we keep the y velocity, but we lose the x velocity, so we don't go over speed. We don't like zoom away from the other player. 10's probably too low, maybe. Still too high. Yep, let's make it 5. And hope that'll stop it. Because the problem is it's going too fast. It's going too fast for the camera as well. Yeah, that's better. Okay, so now they're going at a kind of more pedestrian level. Okay. And so they spread apart and then they can come together again. Okay. Then we can zoom away and you can see that the camera is now following them. And if I start to slow down the yellow player, you see that the other one takes off and still kind of rolls forward. Of course, they can't move further than the other player, so the other player is like tethering them, keeping them together. But as soon as you speed up the other player, then both players move at a sort of decent clip. So yeah, that's tethering. Almost did it. Not quite though. Oh well. Maybe I'll have a play about with it and I'll update the code later on. But for now, the finished version is inside the video, inside the completed branch in the repository, which is again linked below. If you thought this video was like helpful in any way, thumbs up. If you didn't like the video, then thumbs down. If you want to subscribe to the channel, then there's a little button up there, or maybe it's down there. I can't remember where it is now. And hit the red button and notify and all that kind of stuff. And also follow me on Twitter as well. My social media details are down below, and you get time reminders of when the next video is up. So thank you all again for watching. I do appreciate your views and the comments as well. Comments are also awesome in the videos. I'm getting some really good feedback. So I appreciate that as well. So don't forget to share the video as well. That's the other thing. Share the video as well. Don't just like and not like and all that kind of stuff. If you really like the video, then share it on social media. Get the word out there. So yeah, thank you again, and I'll catch you in the next video. And keep coding. That's the important thing. Keep coding.